How you going, guys? We're going to talk about spring, right, aren't we? What else are we going to talk about, right? The first thing to say is, listen, if you're not taking work over spring to some degree, now you've got to manage your schedules, completely understand that, but are you slipping backwards or are you not using this period of time correctly? So be very mindful of being super busy over spring, so much so that you're not meeting new clients it could be detrimental to your business. It's not a healthy sign. And what do I mean by that? It might mean that you're saying yes to casuals that are now all of a sudden calling back up. Casuals are probably the worst clients. We talk about judging clients, don't we? Like dollar per minute of regular service, the amount of additional services they give us, and then the third one being if they mess with frequency. But they're all regular clients. The worst are the casuals. Potentially, right? Now, I can remember doing casuals and some of them were great, but not all casuals are even either. But casuals are bad for a number of reasons, right? And the first one is that they're actually a scheduling nightmare, yeah? The ones that are the worst as well tend to be price sensitive. Can't you do it for that much? The last guy did it for that amount. Or, last time you were here, you managed to do it for that amount, but you haven't been there. They haven't managed the property correctly, or they haven't let you manage the property correctly. The other thing is with casual clients is because it has not been maintained properly, you tend to leave a mess, higher risk of complaint or dissatisfied customer, harder work for you, man, all because they choose to be casual. Now, we're in a world of us choosing, yeah? We're proactive people, but we've got demand exceeding supply. So when demand exceeds supply, why are we bottom fishing with casuals? Yes, I'm a nice guy, I'll come and do it for you. Should we be doing that? I don't know. Maybe not for all of them, right? Particularly not the price sensitive ones. But the main thing is, I've found when guys are doing either big cleanup jobs or big jobs in general, and quite often that comes from casuals, is that they're not servicing their existing client base correctly. So you might spend, I'm so busy, I'm not looking for additional services with those clients, right? Where I normally would ask for that because I'm just so busy because these casuals keep on stuffing up my schedule when they come in, yeah? So, but then you're training a client not to take additional services because you never asked for it. You would have been better off not being Mr. Nice Guy and saying yes to every casual that comes along or calls back up. You would have been better off servicing the people that love you the most. Better, yeah? So see how being a nice guy can lead to non-success, So be mindful of that, please. Quality of the job, I spoke about quality of the customer. So casuals are the worst, right? Let's work our way down the list, why don't we? Casuals are the worst. What's second worst, right? Second worst is going to be NDIS and work cover, right? So if we live in a world where we can take any leads we want, we can be choosing for or being down for a work cover or a NDIS lead, you're choosing to take whatever comes your way, at the bar. But you should be looking and saying, listen, I don't really want that. I want just the high quality. I'm going to go for that. So it wouldn't bother me if we could not service NDIS and work cover that much. I'd still prefer to have a service, but it won't affect me that much. At least I know we're choosing the right ones. What is bad is if I look on because we may have unserviced this year, and we don't want unserviced, but I'd much rather us have NDIS and work cover or bad clients not being serviced rather than new clients coming through that have the potential to be great clients. So just be mindful of that, guys. Like casual clients probably are the worst. I can't believe we didn't think about it, talk about it all the time. It came out in a business review, actually. The guy was talking about his scheduling. He's so stuffed up all the time, man. I just can't seem to schedule properly. And eventually, after about half an hour of it, we're like looking through all the different things. I said, and casual clients, you've got a few casual clients. Casual clients are the worst, man. They call up whenever some of them do. And man, he came in thinking it was a scheduling problem. It was a Mr. Nice Guy taking casuals, right? So be mindful of casuals, be mindful of NDIS. If you take NDIS, I can tell you've got to have in your head that you're at a higher risk factor. So you can't call up when it happens because it's only a matter of if, it's not a matter of when you hit that client. You can't call up and go, oh my God, I didn't know this was going to happen. I'm telling you, like NDIS, where they're not paying for it themselves, tend to be the most demanding. I can see it. It's coming through to me. And sometimes the things they're doing as well are not really kosher, right? They're not actually being people of their words. They're adding things in. They're complicated people. There's multiple parties involved. We've spoken about all the reasons why they can have problems. But if you put yourself down for those services, you've got to expect that. Now that's fine, because that leads me on to my next topic. complaints and star ratings, of course, which is reasonably controversial, right? But understand this about it, and of course I've repeated it, so some guys will know this from before. The complaint system is a net. You get 4 complaints in any 6 months, it's a problem. You get 1 complaint, well, no one's saying it's your fault, right? It's just a net. But if you get 4, there is a problem, right? So sometimes we'll obviously get guys ringing up and they get offended because they got a complaint. And listen, man, I understand that. Absolutely, it's human nature. But just remember, that's the game you're in. You're in the game of meeting new clients. You're not going to get along with everyone. Things are not going to always work out, right? It's not a problem if you get a complaint. It is a problem if you don't do the right thing when you get a complaint, or if you get too many complaints mainly, right? Star ratings, the next one, right? Now, I was talking to last Friday, I was talking to our guy. We've had to do some restructuring, man, of this bloody Google My Business stuff. But that's right, we're getting there. Different strategy, we'll get there. But I was talking to a fella about that, and he was saying, I said, oh, do you follow up like the 1 stars to get them removed? He said, listen, Shane, every profile needs to have a 1 star. If it's 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, all the way through, quite often consumers go like, well, that doesn't sound realistic. So it doesn't hurt. This is him saying it to me. He said it doesn't hurt to have a 1 star on there, because normally if it's all 5 stars and you got a 1 star, then quite often people are going to go, well, the problem is that person who gave the 1 star, the customer, not the supplier, and it looks real, right? So that was interesting. That took me on a different take with that. Ultimately, with Google My Business or star ratings in general, it's a feedback loop. It's very hard to get rid of any of them, particularly like with Google My Business, you can't get rid of them. So we've got to try and avoid them, but that was what I was very much focused on that. He said to me, it doesn't hurt to get the occasional 1 or 2, as long as it's not unfair for some reason that it's not, and then Google can remove it. But that's the world we live in at the moment, but it's not a problem. Just remember what the rules of the game are. If you're worried about getting a blood lip, you'd never step onto a football field, right? So, I might get a blood lip this week because I meet someone who then puts a complaint against me. Does that mean I'm going to lose it and never go out on the football field again? No, it just means that's part of footy. Occasionally shit happens. Same here, yeah? So you've got to put it in that category and don't carry it around. Keep focused on your business. Cool. Enough about that. Spoken about casuals, spoken about NDIS. Now, spring. This is probably one of the most easiest strategies for spring. 2 on, 1 off, yeah? 2 good guys on, 1 bad guy off. You should, at this point, know who your bad guy is, yeah? If you don't, make sure you do, 1 or 2. But by identifying them, you'll start to see how bad they are as well, because the leopard doesn't change its spots, but you will feel liberated once you get rid of them. But don't do it with just going and getting rid of them if you can't make that jump, of taking a chunk, getting rid of it. Now I'm free, I'll find work, and that's the best way to do it. But this is the easiest way to do it. The easiest way to do it is to put yourself down for work and let the flow happen, which is 2 on. I'm so busy, I've got to get 1 off, okay? As long as you're busy for the right reasons, not with casuals and stuff, or the wrong casuals. So be focused on getting rid of your 2 to 3 worst clients over this period of time. You are in limited supply, yeah? 40 hours in the week, there's only 1 of you. Speaking of only 1 of you, now is the time that a lot of guys are putting on casuals and things like that. I had a tip from Tristan, thank you very much, Tristan, which is, man, if you have a work cover issue with one of your employees, it's only the people who've got employees, admittedly, get onto it straight away. They do something about waiving the first 2 weeks that you're meant to pay for or something if you get onto it even before the employee reports it, something like that, or just get onto it. So he had a really positive experience with that and wanted to so much so tell me about it and tell you guys, which, thank you, Tristan. So work cover's not scary, is kind of like what he said to me, but get on top of it straight away. If you are thinking about employing someone, obviously there's some key things to think about. People that are coming as a recommendation are much better than just advertising kind of way of going about it. You do have to make sure your WHS is up to date, but we did that last week, right? And you may have to put in place some additional processes, but that's not all hard. Casual, of course, is best, so you can have some flexibility associated with what you're doing. But now is the time to build your business. Now's the time to take a risk in your business because it's raining jobs, yeah, and we're going to have a big year, man. We're going to have a big year. Cool. Unserviced, we want to try and avoid unserviced, and we will have a focus on that as we're coming into this year or into this spring. But as I said, I'm not too worried about the lesser jobs. I'm more worried about the fact that people were taking the good stuff. Let's take the good stuff and not let it just flow through. Prices, when you're raising prices, of course, that's a springtime topic, isn't it? Raising prices, just remember, of the amount of clients you think you'd lose with a 5-7 plus ratio, I tend to say, like, if you go up by 5, you might lose 3, 5 maybe, I don't think so, but 7, you might lose 7. 10, there's some stories of people not losing any, but it's amazing. But 10, I don't know. You might lose some more, but it depends where your business started from and how. If you haven't done it for a while, they might be price sensitive. You're more likely to lose them, aren't you? So, but in general, one rule that you can think of is this: you'll probably lose about half the amount you think, because half of the guys that you think, it's time for you to step up. I can't do it at this price anymore. Half of them will actually take the next step up, and they will actually come up to your level. The other half won't. So you only lose probably half of them, You're just giving them the choice to come with you to your new pricing or not. Thinking about, obviously price rises being, because your regular price rise, right, is not necessarily what you're looking for in terms of revenue. More of the money is in the additional services, So whenever you're doing any kind of like customer selection, just do remember regular price, and the increase of regular price really is to highlight the sensitive people. Oh, I'm a bit sensitive to a $5 price rise. But what you'll find is those guys don't give you any additional work either. But if you do have one that gives you lots of additional work, like we did, we had an old lady who's sensitive on the mow, but gave us everything in the backyard. That's great too, So judge clients on a number of points for sure. But you've got to raise prices according to the demand that exists for your service. If you're busy, you've got to raise prices. Otherwise, you're never living up to your true future. You're not allowing customers that want to pay you the right amount of money to come in and actually meet you and pay you and value your services. You're also obviously depriving yourself of a life and your family, of a life, because if you earn more, you maybe don't work as much, or you can afford things that you want. So it is very much a responsibility, maybe not to be so much of a nice guy, and to actually consider yourself as well. You're running a business, and it's economical. It's economics. It's demand and supply. It's not super sucker you. Cool. What else have I got for you? Listen, taking more leads over spring, you've got to once again put in that equation that you are going to meet the occasional banana head, right? So don't get too worked up by it. Just know that you chose to take more leads, and therefore, as a result, you are potentially going to meet more banana heads. Speaking of banana heads, sometimes I hear some rumors in the group, right? So I had a guy the other day, he said to me, Shane, is this the case? And I went like, no, it's not. Of course it's not. Where did you hear that? And he said, one of the guys one of the gym's guys was talking about the fact that a new guy can get work in my territory or something. I said, no, of course not. Territory rights are territory rights. But he carried it around for 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my God, I thought, why don't you just call me? So listen, if there's something that comes up, a rumor, someone says something, you go, oh, that doesn't sound quite right. Give me a call, man. Come to the source and find out. Don't carry it around for a week. I suppose, it does get me a bit annoyed when I go like, oh man, the person who did that put that seed out there that spread for a week, or 2 weeks, or whatever it is. Come on guys. If you want a question, ask the question, I'll give you the answer. Transparency is what we've got all throughout this business. So, beautiful guys. Let me just have a quick look over my list just to make sure that I haven't missed anything. In terms of conversion to lead, obviously when you're busy, conversion to lead is all about how quickly you get back to people. Back to people, the first metric obviously is how quickly you return a phone call. And don't forget, on the gym system, you can be switched on for calls to come straight through. And then they can go to your message bank if they need to. And you could also get a text message sent out to the customer with your details on it as well. So that they can call you. So that helps reduce complaints as well. But it's all about the time it takes you to actually get back to them. So the sooner you can get back to them, the better for the arranging of the quote, the sooner you can get a quote in place. And I do see a bit on the getting the quote in place. Sometimes that's put off like 3 days. 3 days to get a quote. There's no question that it is the sensitive thing. Whether you like it or not. You don't have to like it. You just have to recognise the truth. And the truth is, the sooner you get these things done, the more chance you have of actual conversion ratios. Cool. Excellent. I think we'll leave it at that for this time, guys. Just make sure you're getting prepared for spring in every way. That includes on the home front in terms of just getting yourself organised on the equipment and trailer front, and also on your client base front. Yes, prepare for spring. Do these things early so that you can have a nice carry through into spring. Grow your business for the year. Spring, grow your business for the year in spring. Don't try and grow it later on or expect to grow it later on. Grow it in spring. Build up your client numbers. You'll lose a few throughout the year and you'll be kosher. Good on you guys. Have a great week. Ciao.